What's up guys, my name is Rock and welcome back to my channel. New weekend ahead of us and this means 10 new Premier League matches. Quite a few interesting games ahead of us, but the most important of them all, Sunday game Tottenham against Everton. And before I give you any predictions for this weekend, let's just quickly look back and see how I did last week. I started off brilliantly as all the predictions for the Chelsea vs Swansea game were correct. And then I kinda ran out of luck because for the next 3 games my predictions were off by just 1 goal, with Boro, Everton and Hull all needing just 1 goal. And when it once went wrong, it went wrong completely, as I got only 1 out of 3 predictions for the last 3 games correct. West Bromwich did win, but too many goals were scored. Watford and West Ham drew, but not enough goals were scored. And in the Leicester vs Liverpool game, there were enough goals, but the scoreline I predicted was reversed. So these are my stats up to now. Could have done better, but not too bad. Because the first game starts in less than 3 hours, let's get straight to the predictions. So the first game is Manchester United against Bournemouth. Manchester United did just, very luckily, win the League Cup, and Bournemouth are struggling at the moment, and I think their struggles are gonna continue as Manchester United will win this game with more than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 3-1. Next up is Leicester against Hull. Leicester beat Liverpool, which was very surprising but pleasant to watch. And Hull drew with Burnley, but they were unfortunate because they were the better team. I still think Hull will have enough quality to get at least something out of this match, and I think the game is gonna end in a draw with less than 2.5 goals scored with the correct scoreline of 1-1. I favored Boro to get a point last week against Palace, but they never got anything going, and Stoke were destroyed by Tottenham. Not that this was much of a surprise because we are used to seeing that, but I think Stoke will bounce back, and this will be the last game of Aitor Karanka as Boro's manager, because Boro won't be able to do it on a cold rainy afternoon in Stoke. Stoke will win the game with less than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 2-0. A team with one of the worst home records against the team with the worst away record. Swansea vs Burnley. Swansea are playing well at the moment, losing only to City and Chelsea in the last 5 games, and Burnley's away record, well, there is not much to say because there is nothing to say, they are the worst. I know that sooner or later Burnley will get their first away win, but this will not happen today as Swansea is gonna be the winner of this game with less than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 2-0. The next game is Watford against Southampton. Watford drew last week with West Ham, and I think this was a good point for them, but they're getting seriously plagued with injuries, and this is gonna be the problem for the manager Walter Mazzarri. On the other hand, Southampton are coming into this game after the disappointment last week. They lost the cup final, but I think they can hold their heads high because, in my opinion, they were the better team and deserved at least extra times, if not penalties, and maybe even the win. In my opinion, they are getting some consolation here, winning the game with more than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 2-1. West Bromwich won last week against Bournemouth, and even though I hate when Tottenham plays against them, I'm happy for them because they are doing splendidly this year, and Nacer Chadli is playing some amazing football, and with a few more decent results I think they can hang on to the 7th place, maybe even finish 6th, which would be amazing for them. On the other hand, Crystal Palace are still struggling. They won against Boro last week, but unconvincingly. Their style of play still has a lot of flaws, they still have a lot of problems, and I think West Bromwich will win this game with more than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 2-1. The last Saturday's game is between 2 teams I hate the most, History Channel against the Woolwich Wankers, or if you want it in a nice way, Liverpool against Arsenal. It's like, which team do I want to lose the game more? and I'm going with Arsenal, so let's say Liverpool are gonna win this game with more than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 3-1. The only Sunday game I'm gonna predict in this video is gonna be a joy to watch if you're a fan of football matches with a lot of goals, because we will see a match between one of the worst defenses in the league in Sunderland and one of the best attacks in the league in Manchester City, and I think Manchester City are gonna win this game with more than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 4-0. Monday night will be reserved for a London derby between a team I want to see relegated and a team that will probably win the Premier League. West Ham have saved their season and will finish somewhere in the mid-table. Chelsea are just safely cruising to the end of the season, and I think they will not make any mistake here, winning the game with less than 2.5 goals scored and the correct scoreline of 2-0. So these are my predictions for this week. Drop a like if you agree with them, comment with which one you don't agree, and subscribe for more videos. And I will see you guys soon.